How's it going, everybody? My name is Philip, and today we're going to be diving down the rabbit hole of learning new shit about how shit this country is. That's basically what we're doing. Today we're reacting to America Compared, why other countries treat their people so much better. We're on like our own little island, massive island actually, over here, and we're the most... I need to be very thoughtful of how I say this. It's like I want to say we're the most. I want to say because it's hard because I don't know much about South America. I know that Central America. I don't want to say that they're like third world countries, but they're more second world. They're definitely not very well developed. Not in the sense that like if the earthquake happened, you know, it would be kind of like the Haiti thing, Haiti all over again. I would assume, and I only say that just because of everything that I've seen on how Central America is, with a lot of drugs and gangs and violence and I mean it's not too far off from the U.S. They're just not as rich, and so they're seen as less developed. So I don't know, like, yo, I still haven't looked this up. I want to see how well Canada treats their people, like healthcare wise and all this and that. Primarily healthcare and whatnot, but it's just because I've been thinking, okay, I should probably move from where I live, but I understand that England and Australia is very far, and it would be definitely a different experience. But another thing is that I like, again, it always comes around to the sports and the stuff that I like to watch is in this time zone and whatnot. I know I could catch up on it online, but I have this thing that I don't want. So like if there's a game on and I missed it, I don't want to know what the score is. You know? So, like, let's say the Sharks played, right? And they won or they lost by 1 goal, and it was a great game. You know, like the entire game was back and forth. There were some fights. There was a lot of good hits. There was a massive penalty that helped the Sharks or something. And I see that they lost. I'm like, oh. Okay, there's really no point in watching it. And this is very off topic, by the way, because this is this is completely off topic. You can skip to when the video starts, I guess. But basically, it's like, I don't want to watch something after I already know what the score is. It just makes no sense to me. I can just move on with my life. Like, literally, I saw that Aston Villa beat Leeds 3-0 today, and I wanted to watch the game. I didn't realize it was today. I thought it was tomorrow. But time zones. So I think it's always going to be that way, no matter where I go, which is the problem. And I just need to jump out from that mentality and just do it, honestly. And so let's check out why other countries treat their people so much better. And I think a big chunk of it has to do with greediness and just wanting money, basically. So let's check it out.
This episode and others like it are made possible by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to help me make more content like this, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/secondthought. I'm going to say something that will probably offend many of my viewers. Let me preface this by saying that I, as an American, include myself in the following statement. Americans are quite possibly the most willfully ignorant people on the face of the planet.
Yes. Yes, and unfortunately, I still feel like I'm a very big chunk of that as well. Like I still feel like I'm broadening my horizons. I'm learning about certain things outside the U.S., but I'm still very ignorant on a lot of stuff out there that's going on. You know, obviously, I've been trying to stay up to date with what's going on with what's going on in Ukraine and whatnot, because that's terrible, and I hope everyone over there is staying safe and yeah, I don't really know what to do. I mean, I could donate to certain charities and whatnot, but then again, it's also one of those things where you never know if the money is actually going to go to them or if it's going to go to somewhere else. And it's just like, okay, then I need to go. I don't have anything to donate. Like what? They're going to want my shark scarf? I mean, like that's not going to help them with anything. See, that's a mug, by the way. Like what? I give them a mug, a book, or something like. I mean, if they want one, I mean, sure. But it's just like, I don't have, like, warm clothes. I could send them warm clothes, I guess. But it's just like, it's about to be spring soon. So it's just like, it's one of those things I'm not really quite sure. And I don't know. So, let's...
We have access
continue.
to the sum total of all human knowledge, yet our understanding of the world rarely extends beyond our own country.
Yes.
And even then, the majority of Americans believe in a vision of the country that does not actually exist. It's not that we're stupid, we just tend to blindly accept that the US is the greatest place on Earth, and therefore don't see any reason to educate ourselves about the realities of the rest of the world.
Why is this hitting me so hard? Why is he perfectly explaining me? Oh my gosh, I don't like that. I hate that. But it's so true.
This episode, we're going to pull back the curtain on how America actually compares to other countries, and consider why the richest country on Earth fails to treat its people with dignity and fairness. I'm going to provide a list of important topics, then for each item we'll compare the American experience with that of citizens from other nations. Hopefully by providing a side-by-side comparison, you'll be able to see the stark contrast between how most Americans see their country and how it really stacks up against the competition. To give you an idea of just how skewed the American perception of our country really is, let's start with a pretty shocking example. Compensation for what are considered low-skilled jobs. We'll take the quintessential American company, McDonald's. McDonald's is the world's largest restaurant chain by revenue. It operates in over 100 countries and serves over 69 million customers every day. As of 2018, McDonald's was the second largest private employer, with 1.7 million employees, behind Walmart's 2.3 million. How many times have you heard someone refer to McDonald's jobs or workers in a derogatory manner? For some reason, people who work at McDonald's are seen as inferior or lazy or have any number of other unfair and unkind assessments leveled at them.
Yo, that's one thing I never understood. Like, a lot of the times fast food is... I want to say it's for people starting off in their working... when they first start working and whatnot. But, like... That's the issue, because I've seen some older people work there as well. So it's hard to say that, oh, it's just teenagers looking to get some money, you know? And half the time, they're not lazy.
This probably stems from the old notion of flipping burgers being a job anyone can perform. But the animosity towards low-wage workers has grown significantly in the past few decades. And in America, McDonald's workers really do suffer a low wage. As of 2020, the average crew member at McDonald's makes $9 per hour.
Whoa.
The average McDonald's cashier makes $8 per hour. The federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.25, a rate which has not been raised in over a decade, and which should not be considered a reasonable wage for any position, considering the fact that a full-time minimum wage worker cannot afford to rent a 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in the United States.
Not even a studio apartment!
Can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment in over 95% of U.S. counties. Now, the all-too-common response to data like this is something like, well, yeah, it's not a hard job. You should just find a better one. Here's a simple question.
It's not that easy.
Should any job, regardless of technical skill required, pay workers so little that they cannot afford to rent even the smallest place to live?
No.
Not to mention other necessities like utilities, food, and medicine. Absolutely not. That is inhumane and cruel, especially coming from the second largest employer in the richest country on the planet. Other notable objections include, McDonald's has to make a profit. If they pay their workers more, they might go out of business.
Oh yeah, right.
First
Give me
of
a
all,
break.
if you can't pay your workers a fair wage, your company should not be in business. End of story. But again, McDonald's is not struggling to make ends meet. In 2019, McDonald's raked in $21 billion in revenue.
Damn!
But no matter how obvious the exploitation of low-wage workers, Americans are hell-bent on praising the very companies doing the exploiting. Take this article on Reader's Digest, for example. It's titled, "This is what McDonald's workers really get paid." You see that and think, oh, nice. Finally some news showing how poorly these workers are compensated. Then you scroll down and nope, they're actually praising McDonald's, saying things like, the food chain is also great for paying their workers fairly, and McDonald's is one of the highest paying fast food chains in the United States. This level of sycophancy is insane.
I think it just depends on where they went to do their research at. Because as of right now, I think the minimum wage in California is like $15 an hour. So if they did their research in California, I think that it still would be considered $15 an hour. I don't know. Like, I don't know how that works. Like, oh, some people or some jobs can pay $7 an hour due to the federal pay, but like minimum wage, and just like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think it just depends, because I know that every state has their own minimum wage for some reason. They don't all go off the federal minimum wage, which is why it's just like, what's the point in having the federal minimum wage if every state's going to have their own different minimum wage? I don't know. I'm just, that's the yeah.
$8 or $9 an hour is some of the highest pay in the industry. That doesn't indicate that McDonald's is paying fairly. It indicates that a massive chunk of the population is being paid poverty wages.
Yeah.
This is where taking an international perspective is so critical. If all you see is feel-good stories about how well McDonald's workers are paid, you'll never know how badly American workers are actually being treated. Let's take the same company, the same position, but in a different country. Here's a McDonald's in Denmark.
Okay.
The average McDonald's worker in Denmark, for doing the same low-skill job, makes $22 per hour. Well,
hold the okay, no. That's more than what I make now. And I don't work at a fast food restaurant. What the fuck? Yo, Denmark, how you doing? Y'all looking real good right now. What the fuck, man? Yo, this is gonna piss me off. This entire video is gonna piss me off, and not because of what he's saying, but because of the facts, the pure facts that he's giving me. It's just it's gonna get on my nerves. Also, what's up, ladies? How you doing?
Well, hold on, you hear Reader's Digest scream from across the Atlantic. McDonald's workers in America get paid vacation days after just a year of work. Wow, enticing. In Denmark, when you're hired at McDonald's, not only are you making nearly 3 times what you would make in an American Mickey D's, you also instantly have access to a full year of paid family leave and a pension.
Oh,
no
wow.
slaving away for a year to prove your value to the company. You're hired and you're treated fairly. Simple as that. McDonald's can afford to compensate all their workers like this, but they won't, because US laws allow them to exploit American workers to the point where they're basically slaves, earning the bare minimum to survive, paying all of their income and often going into debt just to pay rent, and having no way to escape this vicious cycle because they're working such long hours.
Also, I'm sorry if I'm pausing this way too much, but it's just like every time, the few times that I've gone to McDonald's in the past like 2 years, I purely just choose not to go out much anymore. I just pretty much go to work, get something to eat, but bring it home for the most part. Like whether it's drive-through, rarely do that. Or like if I need something worked on my car, that's really it. Like I literally don't go out to do anything else. Like I literally have an exercise bike in my fucking in downstairs in the spare bedroom, so I could go get exercise that way. And I also have a massive backyard, which is why it's also great to be in where I'm at now. But like, this pisses me off. Everyone always says, well, but you get this and this. It's like you need a little facts list. And just like, here's what they get in Denmark. Here's what they get in Norway. Here's what they get in Sweden. Here's what they get in England. Here's what they get in Spain. You want to compare? You do you truly want to compare? Go ahead. Look at it. Like, people, come.
This is the case across all of America's low-wage jobs, of which there are many. The plight of the low-wage worker is incredibly dire, and all you have to do to understand that is look at how those same workers are treated in other wealthy countries. Let's move on to another topic: work-life balance. Fair wages are definitely part of this equation. If you're paid fairly, you don't need to work a second job, which will free up your time to be spent elsewhere. But we're going to focus on other metrics, specifically the length of the work week, vacation time, and parental leave. Let's start with the US. Most Americans would say that 40 hours per week is full-time.
Yeah.
That seems to be the general consensus. But, in keeping with the country's exploitative labor practices, the hilariously named Fair Labor Standards Act does not actually define what qualifies as full-time. That's left up to the employer. Okay, why does this matter? Well, think of your past part-time jobs. Did you get any benefits? Healthcare?
Nope.
401k?
No.
Probably not. Most benefits, when they're offered at all, are reserved for full-time employees.
Yeah.
Companies don't want to provide benefits because they affect their bottom line. America is all about cutting costs, and providing workers with fair compensation is a cost. So, imagine you apply for a full-time job at Best Buy. You're offered the job, but they tell you they only have part-time positions, but they can give you almost full-time. They make it sound like they're doing you a favor, offering you more hours than normal part-time. But this is just another example of employers exploiting their workers.
Yeah. No. That's exactly what happens. I worked at DHL here, and it was basically just the warehouse part of it. It was we worked with the USPS, the postal service here in the US, and I was a part-time employee. This is what pissed me off. This is what really got under my skin. That I always worked part-time. Technically, everyone that worked there was part-time, but they made everyone work 40 hours plus. So you work your minimum 40 hours, but then you do your fucking you basically work until the job's done. Like, if you go in at 6 at night, 7 o'clock at night, there'd be times when you would not leave until almost 7 o'clock in the fucking morning. It's just that ridiculous. Especially if I'm in one department, we finish early, and then they have us go to help other departments. There was literally one time I was there from 3 in the afternoon to almost 6:30, 7 in the morning. And I, literally my body almost gave out. I almost, not necessarily passed out, but my legs almost gave out. And I almost just fell to the floor because, I was walking nonstop that entire time. Except for the time I had the breaks. But, it's so stupid.
If you work 37 hours per week, you're essentially a full-time employee, but they don't have to provide you any sort of benefits. No healthcare, no vacation, nothing. This is a common practice. Companies will hire people, but keep them just below the threshold for full-time to avoid providing fair compensation. I've seen it happen. I used to work at Best Buy, and they would do it all the time. And that's just the companies who are still trying to appear generous. Others will simply not offer benefits at all, or set their full-time positions at 50 or 60 hours per week.
Oh, hell
Sales
no.
positions are notorious for this. They'll often say, well, we expect you to work 40 hours, but all the top sellers are working 60 to 70 hours per week. This is coercion. They're trying to pressure you into working more hours to benefit them, and the compensation is never what they claim it will be. By allowing employers to define full-time work, American workers are held captive by corporations, forced to either work absurd hours to qualify for full-time benefits, or find a second job to help cover the cost of things like health insurance.
And the thing is, a lot of times, especially at lower level places, where you need what am I saying? When you need the money, you work in 2 jobs, but then still you need to have, if you're going to school, you got to pay for school, so you got to pay for rent, school, and utilities, and you got to have some sort of entertainment, whether it's music, so you got to have a little bit of money set away for music, whether it's Spotify or if you still have an iPod. If you don't have an iPhone, then you got to pay $10 a month. I checked for fucking iTunes on your Android device, or just go on your old ass fucking iPod Touch right here. Just go on one of these old damn things and just hold off until it finally dies. It's so stupid. It's just...
Both of these options lead to a terrible work-life balance, and as real wages have decreased and benefits have been offered less and less over the years, huge numbers of American workers have developed an unhealthy work-life balance.
Yeah.
For example, in 1960, when workers had real bargaining power, only 20% of American women worked. Today, 70% of children live in households where both parents are working full-time. Where does all this lead? As of 2020, over 85% of American men and 66% of women work more than 40 hours per week. We work 137 more hours per year than Japanese workers, 260 more than the British, and 499 more hours per year than the French. Why do other countries have such a better balance? Because many of them have laws that cap the length of the full-time work week. Companies are required to pay their workers fairly and allow enough time off for employees to maintain a healthy work-life balance. That's not the case in the US. Vacation time is a similar story. Whereas many other countries mandate that employers provide paid vacation and sick days, the US does not. In every industrialized nation, workers get more paid vacation days and holidays than in the US. Here's a depressing graph to illustrate just how poorly we treat our workers. France 31, Spain 34, Austria 38.
Hold on. Okay, so paid holidays is light blue, paid vacation. So the reason, okay, so I don't know if you saw, so this was my pay stub. I'm not going to fully show everything, but like, I wanted to check. So I have 24 hours sick leave, literally just 3 days. I have only 10 days, so 2 weeks worth of vacation. I've been working there for 5 years now, especially through a pandemic. And I have almost 8 days almost on top of that. It's like I'm working towards another 2 weeks. But it's like, see, I didn't realize how much this was actually going to hurt me seeing this.
America, 0. 0 paid vacation days, 0 paid holidays. And remember, these are the mandated figures. Every Austrian worker gets a minimum of 38 paid days off per year. Even in the worst possible employment situation, they'd still get 38 paid days off.
That's a month.
In the US, many workers are lucky to get Christmas or Thanksgiving off at all. And the odds that it's a paid holiday? Next to 0. Let's move on to our final comparison.
They tax the shit out of that, so it doesn't even seem that big.
Many Americans aren't even aware this is a thing, so let me explain. When an employee of a company has a child, sometimes they're offered parental leave, a period of time where they can stay home from work to bond with and take care of their new baby. This greatly benefits the employee, the child, and in the long run, the company, because the employee will be happier, less stressed, and more loyal to the company. Of course, offering paid parental leave doesn't benefit corporations in the short term. And if there's one thing that encapsulates the American business philosophy, it's short-term gains over all else. So it won't surprise you to learn that the US is the only industrialized nation on the planet that does not mandate some amount of paid parental leave. This may be shocking to my American viewers because being able to get paid to spend time with your newborn child sounds like an impossible dream in our dystopian labor market. And honestly, it probably is impossible in our current America. We're so invested in self-destructive capitalism that even suggesting the possibility of paid parental leave would put US politicians out of a job. That's not the case in the rest of the industrialized world. In fact, every other OECD nation, and even in many third world countries, new parents are guaranteed at least several weeks of leave. Let's take a look at a few of them. Ethiopia, a country with an annual gross national income of under $900 per person, offers 90 days of leave with 100% pay. Madagascar, 14 weeks at 100%. Afghanistan, 90 days. Denmark, 52 weeks. Norway, 56 weeks. France, 16 weeks at 100%.
Yo, how much is that? No, I'm going to have to do the math. I'll do the math later, but holy shit. Literally, okay. I'm terrible at math, but I know there's at least 4 weeks in a month. So that's a shit ton. Like when I said 3 to 6 months, right? Like, so that's how much people are getting. I was just throwing numbers out because I just.
100% pay for your first child, up to 26 weeks for your third, on top of 104 unpaid weeks. Lithuania, 52 weeks at 100%.
So the more children you have, the more weeks off you have? Or is it just the first and the third? They don't give a shit about the second. So if you only have 2 kids, then you're out of luck. You must have that third one to have that extra time. It's like, oh, no, honey, we need to have a third child so I could have that extra, however many extra weeks. It's like, I don't want a third one. We need to have a third one, okay? I will cut you if we don't have a third one. I want that time off.
plus
Not
an
that they
additional
matter.
52 weeks at 80%.
What?
Again, the United States does not mandate a single day of paid parental leave even for the mother, and the father is never considered. This means that workers in America have to choose to either pay the exorbitant cost of childcare or have one parent quit their job in order to take care of the child. These are both bad options, which often lead to economic precarity. But
Plus, it doesn't help that apparently it takes about $10,000 to have a damn child here. Go watch the other video that I did on healthcare, American stuff, bullshit. If it costs that much to have a child, you need to have your job. Like, what the...
But that doesn't matter to the companies employing American workers.
Yeah, but they can fuck
Profit
off.
is the only thing that matters. Hopefully seeing these labor practices compared like this has made it clear that not only is the US not living up to its claim to being the greatest nation on earth, but also that it consistently ranks poorly and often dead last in terms of labor metrics. Why is it that the wealthiest, most powerful nation on earth can't pay their workers a fair wage, or provide healthcare, vacation time, or paid parental leave? You should realize by now that it's not that they can't, it's that they won't. Everything in America is beholden to the almighty dollar. Profit is the only motivator. If an action does not produce a greater profit, it will not be considered. Over the last few decades, Americans have watched as our livelihoods, our quality of life, and our dignity have all been stripped away by those who already make obscene amounts of money. Those in power say we're all in this together, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The ultra-wealthy and the world's largest corporations rely on Americans remaining ignorant. They rely on us accepting the lie that America is the greatest nation on earth, that it couldn't possibly get any better. All you have to do to shatter that lie is to take a look around the world. Other nations take care of their citizens. Even impoverished nations, or nations that we've bombed into oblivion, take better care of their people than the US does. American workers need to relearn the language of class struggle and work together to break the wheel of the capitalist machine. If we want to claim that the United States is the greatest place on earth, we need to make it that way.
Yeah. That really gets on my nerves. Like, after watching that first video, it kind of became a little bit more clear. I've heard, like when I did a little bit looking into Australia and how much and all that, and I do remember hearing about the NHS in England, or at least, I don't know if it's just England or if it's in just the whole of the UK, but it's just... I think part of what it is we have this motto of home of the free. You know, you're free to do whatever you want. And so then we start painting that we're free. You know, we're free, but if you go to this other country, it's not going to be the same. Like, you can't do what you do here. like it's so much worse in every other country in the world. Like I said, I don't know about Canada, but I at this point, I'd much rather just move up to Canada. Like, my brother's looking to move back here, because right now he's in South Korea. He's with the army, so he's living over there, and he likes it, but he kind of misses home. But I'm just like, dude, just move to Australia. And he's like, oh, well, the weather and the blah blah blah. Who gives a shit? Like I said, he's in the army, so he's not gonna have to deal with all this, all the medical stuff, because normally the people that are veterans and people that have worked in the army and whatnot, they get taken care of. So it's like, unless you were a veteran, which half the time there's still a lot of homeless veterans out there, for the unlucky ones, and for the lucky ones, you get taken care of. You know, I don't know what the percentage is on that, but like, the fact that the words homeless veteran are a thing, the fact that those two words even go together, that you even hear that in a sentence together at all, is ridiculous. Like, it pisses me off. I knew to an extent what I was getting into when I clicked on this video. I didn't know to what extent I was really looking in. I just didn't know to what extent I was getting myself into when it came to this video. This hurts. It really hurts. But thank you guys so much for watching. Denmark, y'all looking very good. Not right now because y'all a little bit too close to Russia. But I'm sorry, bad jokes. But seriously, everyone out there, stay safe. I hope everything ends soon. Hopefully, Mr. Idiot Pants over there grows a pair and decides, oh, this is not a good idea, and he just pulls out. Something he probably doesn't know anything about because he doesn't get any. Is he even married, actually? Hold on. I'm actually curious about this. Yo, what the fuck? Putin's got a very attractive daughter. That sucks. Yo, that sucks. So he's not married now. Maybe that's why he's so angry. Maybe because he hasn't gotten any in a while. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I haven't either, but like, I'm not trying to go bomb nations. I also don't have the power to bomb nations, so I just, you know what it is? I think what it is I get to screw people over in The Sims. That's what I do. I like screwing up their lives in The Sims because it has no real effect on the world. Maybe Putin should start playing The Sims, so that way he can go around bombing The Sims and not real people. People, buy him a good enough computer, or tell him that there's something even better than bombing real people. It's called messing with The Sims. Mod it so that he can become a murderer and be never caught. I'm sorry, listen. But seriously, stay safe out there, everyone from any European nation out there, because you never know. I feel like you never know what's going to happen with Putin, especially with Ukraine trying to join NATO, if they haven't joined yet already, at the point when I'm making this video. Because I do feel like as soon as everything goes through, everyone else is getting involved. So, it's just, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what else I should react to in the comment section below. I'll try and get back to all the music stuff in a bit. I don't know why I've just been on this random hype of different stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time.